Today's video, we are going to talk about how to track offline sales or leads in general from any SMS-based communication that you've gotten from your prospects that came in from your advertising campaigns on Google, on Facebook, on Microsoft/Bing ads, so you can track how many people respond to your call to action that relates to a text or an SMS. This is specifically which by the way works very, very good, which you guys should be trying this if you haven't tried it already. You probably haven't. When somebody goes to your landing page, you could say, you could call me, you could fill out a form, or you could text me. Text for an instant quote crushes it. We've had it in instances before where we have doubled the amount of leads that we were able to get. Now, naturally, that doesn't happen every time, but doubled the amount of leads, roughly speaking, when we had a text for quote option. We had, to give you one example, was in the drywall repair space. Take a picture of your drywall that needs to be repaired, get an instant quote. People love that because it cuts out the BS time on the phone, talking to somebody back and forth. Anytime you can make it easier to order from your company than your competition, it gives you a massive edge in itself. Give you another example. We had in the tattoo removal space. Text for a instant quote also works very, very, very well. So, and there's other instances where you can offer, text for catalog, text for pricing guide, text for brochure, or just text to have somebody call you back. And all of those can increase your lead flow from the same amount of traffic that you have coming to your site. Obviously, different ones work better for different markets or different niche businesses or different niches. But regardless of which one works for your business, which I'm going to talk about more, how you can implement this to increase your lead flow, which in itself can increase your profitability of your ads right away. But all of this, that half of the value is the increase in response rates that you get, but it would only be extremely valuable or mostly valuable if you could also track how many people reply, because if you don't track how many people text you, your ad account that's optimizing to get you with smart bidding, to get you leads at a certain cost, when it don't see part of the leads that are coming through, the system is going to get thrown off track, and you can't, even if it does increase your response rates, because you're giving people another option to respond, and different people like to respond different ways, and they have different preferred methods of communication with you and with the other people and other businesses. You still got to be able to track the leads in order to take advantage of the increase in lead flow you're going to get. Because if you increase your lead flow 25%, and again, 25% of your conversion data is gone, you may actually break even or lose money. It literally matters that much with these ad platforms like Google and Microsoft and Facebook that run off of machine learning and learn from what works and what doesn't work to steer your ads. When you start losing that much data in your ad account. So, but the good news is you can easily track a text coming in or a text that turns into a sale, of which I'm going to tell you about in the next part of this video. So with this said, I assume already that you're tracking your calls or whatnot. If you're not tracking phone calls on your landing pages or your website, you need to obviously be doing that first and foremost. CallRail is the call tracking provider I would recommend. It's the top leading provider in the space. When you're dealing with software that's mission critical like this, you don't want to screw around to try to save a few bucks and go with a middle of the road company. Just go with the best one, because it's going to make sure your calls are going to get transferred through at the highest rate possible and not fuck up the lowest and fuck up the least amount of times, basically. Okay? With that said, if you're using CallRail, one of the benefits of using them, and I don't know about all the other call tracking providers, besides like Call Tracking Metrics. Call Tracking Metrics and CallRail are the main ones. With CallRail, if you go with them, still right now, you can track texts or SMS messages to your same tracking numbers that you have on your landing page. Okay? So with that said, if you have a call to action on your website saying text for a quote, like I was talking about earlier, okay, every time someone texts you, you could track every one of those events. And then conversely, have that to show up inside your ad accounts, whether you're doing Google ads, Facebook ads, or Microsoft ads. You can see it in there if you're using CallRail and you've already got call tracking set up on your website. So you can have something that even says call or text, knowing that if they text, you'll have it tracked. If they call, you have it tracked, and it's going to track the same way. And if you use the direct integration between CallRail and Google, your call tracking goal that tracks calls will also that same goal that automatically shows up in your Google Ads account, which is how the CallRail to Google Ads integration works and is set up. It'll also trigger if somebody texts that same number on your website. So pretty simple. So if you got call tracking, you got SMS tracking automatically when you use the integration. Okay? Same thing with the Facebook integration itself. Okay? So as far as Google and Facebook, you use the direct integration that CallRail provides. With these two ad platforms, you can actually track every time an SMS comes in, okay? If you're doing Microsoft ads, you can do this indirectly through Google Tag Manager, but you can also track every time an SMS comes in because with the Google Tag Manager integration of CallRail to Google Tag and the CallRail to Google Ads, Google Analytics, and through Google Tag Manager, you can set up to where you have a conversion goal in Microsoft/Bing ads that triggers when an SMS comes in. You can do that SMS or calls, which basically it's going to be summed into the same goal. Unfortunately, still I don't know how to track SMS and calls separately. I'm sure there's a way, but it doesn't really matter because if somebody calls or fills out or either calls or requests that you text them, the value of those leads are about the same from what I've seen. One isn't going to convert so much better than the other to where we need to actually track them separately so that we can value them separately. Even though a phone call is going to convert a little bit better. Once they're on the phone, it's a little bit easier to get the whole pitch to them versus through the text. And it just takes less effort for someone to text you. So the lead obviously is not going to close at the same rate as well. But for the most part, you're going to get more SMS leads, even though the closing rate is going to be less. And at the end of the day, the value that you get from each response, if you will, is going to be about the same. And whereas the calls convert better, you're actually going to get less calls though, because it takes more to get them to call. So, but anyway, with that said, the integrations are going to provide you what you need. On Microsoft, you got to go through Google Analytics and using Google Tag Manager to get it into Bing, but you can do that. The next thing I want to mention on here, so if you have a problem or should I say you want to track offline conversions, you want to track when somebody texts you, whether or not that lead turns into a sale or not, okay? You want to be able to pick up and you can do this through picking up what they call the Google Click ID or Facebook Click ID, which is a unique serial number that is tied to each click, and storing that into a database or a spreadsheet somewhere until that person purchases, and then you can feed that code back to the ad platform to know that a sale occurred that initially came in through SMS. This is something that we do all the time with phone calls, and you should also do with SMS, specifically if you have a call to action to actually ask people to text you. So Google Click ID there's a unique Google Click ID tied to every click on Google's ad platform. When somebody gets to your landing page, the Google Click ID is in the URL. It's at the end of the URL. You can go ahead and you can pause this video, and you can click on an ad on Google, any of them, and then see on the landing page that you're taken to, it'll say GCLID equals, and then a string of numbers and characters. That's the Google Click ID. That Google Click ID, if you're using CallRail, gets picked up and sent to CallRail when that person calls through the JavaScript that CallRail provides you to put on your landing page and put on your website. If they text you, it's the same thing. There's going to be the Google Click ID and metadata about where that user came from, specifically, that is what keyword they typed in and so forth. And that'll all be sent to CallRail. And that SMS, you can actually see inside your CallRail account. If you go ahead and you look at that SMS's details, you can see the Google Click ID that's tied to that SMS message, if you will. And you can do that under the SMS timeline itself, but every SMS that comes through, your tracking number is going to be able to be fetched, or it'll show up inside your CallRail account. And at that point in time, because every SMS also that comes through, if the SMS came from a visitor that came from Google Ads, it'll also capture the Google Click ID. When that person purchases up to 90 days later, assuming you have 90-day conversion window, a 90-day conversion window set up on your conversion goal to track sales inside your Google Ads account, you can, when that person buys, you can go find the SMS message that originally came in that comes from that same user, because when somebody buys, you have their number, you can find that same number in CallRail. Oh, it was an SMS message. Oh, okay, what was their Google Click ID tied to that SMS message that came in originally? Take the Google Click ID, go to Google Ads under their uploads menu, upload that Google Click ID, and then bang, right away, you're going to be able to see in the keywords menu what keyword they typed in, what time of the day of the week, device that the user was on, all of that that were tied to that user inside Google Ads, so you can then use that information to steer your ads and for the algorithm to steer your ads in the general direction that gets you the more people like that, more, more customers, in other words, okay? So that's another thing you can do. And then for Facebook sales tracking that originate from an SMS message, it's the same thing. Instead of a Google Click ID, if the user came from a Facebook ad originally, it'll be a Facebook Click ID, FBCLID. And if it came from a Microsoft ad, it's going to be MCLID, Microsoft Click ID. So they all kind of copy the same kind of naming nomenclature here. But whether it was from Google or Facebook or Microsoft/Bing, it'll have that ID and all works the same way. You go into your Facebook account, you upload the Click ID. Microsoft, you get the Click ID, you upload it, and that's what you do. So if you want to do sales tracking of leads that come in from your SMS messages, that's specifically how you do it right there. It's very convenient, given CallRail. Once the JavaScript code is on your website, all the work, if you will, is done. Then all you got to do once a month or once a week is take all the customers that you've had come in that last week or last month, find the matching customers in CallRail, grab the corresponding Click ID, whether it came from Google, Facebook, or Microsoft, upload it to the appropriate platform, and then your sale will actually show up in that ad platform. Not only just so that a sale happened, but you can also associate the value of that sale. That is, the actual revenue is what makes sense most of the time, or assumed lifetime value, or what the contract is supposed to be worth, or what have you. So, and then with that, you can see, okay, here's the ROI from this keyword over time, from all the SMS messages that came in. This is how much revenue we got from them, from all the clicks on this keyword, if you will. And, a lot of times, or most of the time, people don't just respond through SMS. So you would then import all the sales that come through SMS and phone and form, all using the same Google Click ID system, or Microsoft Click ID system, or Facebook Click ID system. But you're just going to also include SMS with it, since you have a call to action that allows people to respond through text. You also want to use the SMS tracking that CallRail provides to get the related clicks that generated an SMS message and then later on generated a sale into your ad account as well. So anyway, that is how you track sales. Now, a lot of you guys may not realize it is a pain to upload Google Click ID and all that to Google. It is worth it every time to do this if you're serious about your business. You'll make 3 times as much money over the long run having the actual revenue being fed into your account than just optimizing for phone calls or form fills, because the cheapest phone calls and form fills are not going to be the most valuable ones. That's just how it is. Why? Because, like on Google, just to keep this simple, it's all still a bidding system. Certain keywords are more expensive than others because it's more likely to convert and it's more competitive. More people want to advertise on that search result for that keyword. And so with that, the keywords that have the word like cheap or free or low cost, people know the leads from that are worth less, so they're willing to spend less per click for those keywords. And if you're just trying to gun for the cheapest leads, what whether you have smart bidding or not, but especially if you have smart bidding, you could say, Google, get me every lead you can at $35 or less. It's going to say, oh, this keyword right here generates leads all day long at $35. But guess what? The lead quality is less because they're using the word cheapen with the keyword. And, you could logically, like the other people, which is why that it doesn't cost as much per click to get clicks from that word with cheap in it. You could just bid less arbitrarily, or if you weren't paying attention, you may be overpaying for that traffic from that keyword forever. Or you could, if you're using the offline conversion tracking, you can identify what exactly is the traffic from that keyword worth. Is it worth half of what the traffic from this keyword is worth? A third? 10%? Because there's some, where it's stupid. It's really stupid just to shut off the traffic on a keyword like cheap plumbing services, because if that traffic was free, obviously you would take it, right? And if you had enough clicks, you're eventually going to get some revenue off of it. Question is what is it worth? You can't properly evaluate what you need to be paying per click for that keyword unless you got the data to back it up. So instead of just optimizing for cheap leads, you can optimize, like let's say for $8 of revenue for every dollar in ad spend, and then whatever amount of value that keyword has, what is, where, because you'll find that if you pay $3 a click, you're not going to get an 8-to-1 return on your ad spend for that keyword, but at $2 a click you can. And so $2 is the most you can spend for traffic on that keyword without going below your 8-to-1 return that you need and your business to be worth doing business in the first place. And with that, that's just, that's the maximum aggressiveness that you can go on that keyword. So yes, it's going to bring in less traffic than if you paid $3 a click, but the clicks are still going to be profitable to you. So your goal always is, then it's really simple. How much can I afford to pay for each keyword so I'm not going to go below profitability? Because the more I pay per click, the more traffic I'm going to get, the more sales I'm going to get. But there's a limit on what I can pay before my profitability goes into the negative. And you can randomly guess what that is without having sales tracking data. Or you could know exactly where it is by having the sales data going into your account. And when your competition doesn't have any of this data and you have it, now you have a massive advantage. That's why you can make 3 times as much money from a Google Ads account when you're optimizing on the profit level instead of a cost per lead level. Because you just find the diamonds in the rough. There'll be certain keywords and the leads that that come from those keywords that are 10 times the ROI as other keywords. The more specific of a keyword that it is, more likely it is the ROI is going to be higher. Or generally speaking, the more specific the keyword, the higher the ROI. Why? Because the more words they use in their phrase, the more more certain they are about what they need, and therefore the further down the purchase cycle, or if you will, that they are on average. Somebody searching for 4.5-inch, Johnson bolts are going to convert at a higher rate than someone typing in Johnson bolts. That's just obvious, but that's the rule. And somebody typing in 24-pack of 1/4-inch Johnson bolts are going to convert even better. But without, it certainly helps make your job super easy if you don't have to guess what the value is of the longest phrase versus the shortest phrase. You could just know. And you can set up your smart bidding to then optimize for an 8-to-1 return once you have the data feeding in using maximized conversion value bidding strategy, and let Google do the work for you. You just make sure you feed in the right data. The system's going to get you a click wherever it can. That'll automatically translate, that they know will automatically translate into a minimum ROI that you set. So basically, bottom line, 70% of the people in your market will, for the most part, in a competitive market, at least be tracking some sort of conversions, phone calls or form fills. Like 2% will be tracking at the revenue level. So you can beat a lot of people just having any kind of tracking of leads. You add the sales tracking, nobody's going to basically be doing that. I know because I audit accounts all day long and I've looked at hundreds of accounts. I know nobody's tracking their sales revenue. So with that said, anyway, going back to now that you know how to track it and that by giving people the option to text you can get you more leads for the same amount of traffic, how do you implement this to give you some extra information, some bonus information to make more money from your account today? Now that you know how to track leads that come in through SMS, what can you do? So what I like to do is First of all, on the form, this came in from one of our viewers, which I haven't tried, or hadn't tried until he mentioned it, and it absolutely does work. On your form, have a little radio button that says, how would you prefer to be contacted? Phone or SMS? A bunch of people will choose SMS. A lot of people, like 50% of people will choose SMS. And you can get a hold of that person very easily through SMS. That saves time on your end and saves time on their end. So, and if they go through, so that, naturally that's going to be picked up through your form tracking itself. But I thought I would mention it because it was a very good idea that our subscriber had to mention that. And that's one of the ways you should take advantage of SMS, because they're more likely to fill out the form if you have that option. Not a ton, but some. Between 1 and 10% extra form leads when you have that extra option, because people do get halfway through a form and abandon because they don't want to fill it out, or it's too hard, or they change their mind halfway through. The other thing you can do is you can have next to your phone number, you can say call or text. That's another way you're going to be able to get a few extra leads from the same exact traffic you have coming to your site right now. The other way you can do things is you can have a button, just like they have buttons that they've used for, it's not really a secret anymore. You can have click to call, you can have click to text. So instead of even having to go to their phone app on their phone and type in the number to text you, they can click and then right away they can text you. Makes it super easy. And now you're going to be able to have the potential to get an extra 10+% more leads because you have that option added there with you can at least account on 10, but probably 20+% more leads if you have a click to text and you have a reason for them to text you. Get an instant quote, click here to text and get your quote. Then you have call or text next to the phone number. Okay, so by having that, you're going to have somewhere between 10 and 100% more conversions. In some markets, it's going to be closer to double. Like I gave you a couple examples earlier on in the video about the drywall, the tattoo removal. But in some other cases, we're talking about like nuts and bolts, fasteners and stuff like that. We're getting closer to 10-20%, which is a use case where we used it as well. So, but it's free money. Why not basically do this? And then with that, yeah, if you want the full value out of what you're doing, you got to have a reason for them to text you on the top of it. Text for an instant quote, text for a price guide, text for a brochure, text for a sample. We had in one market where it was something to modify your home. Text to get a picture of your home and what this product will look like on your home. That was a fantastic offer that we came up with specifically. And got a ton of more leads to contact us. And obviously once you have their phone number, you can call them now, even though it's a little bit skeezy to call them once you got their text. Once you ask them to text you, but hey, if you want to make money, we got to get down and dirty sometimes. Text to get a brochure. It's very easy to get someone to text you to get the brochure. Don't offer the brochure without having them text you. Why? Because you're going to get more leads. And if they're genuinely interested in that product, they are going to text you for that brochure. I promise you that. You could text for a price guide. What I love doing is coming up with a price guide where you're talking about the differences in price between your solution and other solutions that compete with it in the market, as well as a spinoff to that, durability tests. So either comparing the price or comparing the durability of your product versus all other products in the market, or a combination thereof. That's information because you should, if you're gonna gate content and ask for someone's information in order to get it, your content should be something that they know they can't find in Google later on, and that they know they may not be able to find later on, and so therefore they should get it now. That's the level of content, and if you're going to put together any content at all to offer on your landing pages, the level of content you want to provide. The durability test and the pricing and showing the difference of pricing of one thing versus the other is that level of content. Buyer's guide is so boring, and maybe if you're in an obscure niche, that's good enough. But if you're not, considering going the next level up and saying durability test, see our product compared durability-wise versus all the other products in the market. And then obviously text for an instant quote, that's probably certainly that's the most common one, most common one that we've used in the past. I gave you those 2 examples. That would be my first go-to to get an instant quote, because it's, you're trying to generate sales leads. So why not go with that? But there's no rule also that says you just have to have one call to action like that. You could say, text for an instant quote, and I like to get the most out of that. I'll say, get a quote in 60 seconds or less, or 3 minutes or less, so they know that if you text, you're going to get a right away reply. Then you could also have the durability test that you did on your product side by side, and you could text for that, and that'll get you a few more leads. I always like on my landing pages, I know that if I want the most leads possible, you need to have your primary offer and a secondary offer. The primary offer is, what if they were initially promised XYZ on the ad? Well, that's your primary offer. But if they're not quite ready to talk to a salesperson, have a secondary offer. That is information they can't get elsewhere, like I was talking about before, right? And they can get that. Buyer's guide, if you're in a weird, obscure niche, like buying a home elevator, buyer's guide, what you need to know. But even that is boring. I'm more along the lines of trying to spice that up even more. If it's my business, I'm going to go the extra mile. If it's, I'm selling caskets, before buying don't get ripped off buying a casket. Find out, how people are getting ripped off from 25-year funeral director, veteran. Don't get ripped off. And having that as the content. It's way spicier. That's going to get way more response. Because you want something that's so good, they just see it and they just have to say, I have to know what that is. Or I have to see that. And so if they weren't quite, because a lot of people don't realize, the people that are going to Google search, and like maybe they're typing in roofing companies Dallas, okay? You think those people should be serious. There's a reason why no matter how good your landing page is, you're only going to get 30% of people to turn into an actual lead, phone call lead or form fill. The reason for that is the other 60% aren't ready to buy. And so what they do is they dick around and they start researching online. They waste your budget just to start getting some information. Even if the ad says, we just offer metal roofing services, they're going to dick around and go to your landing page just because they're curious and they're wasting time, they're burning time, whatever. So if you want to get, instead of 30% conversion rates, you want to get 45, you got to be able to have a secondary offer to be able to do that. How not to get ripped off on a metal roof? What metal roofing companies don't want you to know. If you're now that person, just at the information, at the point of just gathering data, that's something that's perfect for that person. So in other words, to distill this down, you want something that offers them something they can talk to a salesperson in most cases, or you want something that's going to help them do the research they need, because if they're not ready to buy, if they are going to buy something, it's because they're looking for information. So you want both of those if you want the most profit out of the traffic you're driving to your landing page / site, because you're going to cater to whatever the mindset of that person is, whether they're looking for information or looking to buy right now. So that's a little secret of the business that a lot of people don't think about or know. And on the primary offer, most people just say, talk to a salesperson, here's the phone number. That's also not going to get you the most results. You want to say, to get a quote on a metal roof in 60 seconds or less, call. Or you could do, to find out how to get the best deal on a metal roof, call. Or to get 10% off on any metal roof for May, call. You come up with an offer, and so instead of just being so lame and unoriginal by saying, hey, we offer metal roofing, call me, that'll get you a decent amount of leads and make you make you good money in and itself. You do everything else right, you'll make even more money when you give them a reason to respond now, because they're going to not want to miss out on whatever it is that you're offering by leaving, because a lot of people will say, oh, I'll come back to this later, and then later never comes. So you want to make them feel like they're going to miss out on what you've been offered, what you're offering them, if they can't find that page again. I think, well, I might as well respond now because I'm going to maybe not find this page again. And that's what you want to instill in the mindset of the user. That is fear of missing out, or fear of forgetting the offer, or not being able to find the offer again, so to say. Or it might be get a roof for as little as $89 a month. Call to find out the details on how. So even though it says that, and somebody doesn't want an $89 a month payment plan for a roof, they're still going to call. And then the people that were on the fence and they weren't quite ready to buy, and they also didn't want information. Now you got a few of those people to buy, because there's people that, they were going to get 3 quotes, but they were clicking around a little bit before they were going to get quotes. They weren't going to get a quote the first time on the first page they got to. Then you're going to get a few more of those people. So anyway, I'm getting kind of off the beaten path here, what I initially intended this video to be about. SMS marketing via your landing pages that you're using, via your ad campaigns, is a great way to get extra money out of the traffic you have already come into your site. And it might actually be the thing that tips you from non-profitability to profitability if you use what I told you. When you combine all the information I gave you here, primary offers, secondary offers, call to action on primary and secondary, also giving the person to text you on the form and next to the primary phone number, you add it all up. If you're not making considerably more money from this, you screwed something up bad. So, but like I said, don't do it all unless you're going to track your SMS calls that come in, because you're going to screw up the machine learning that's behind the ads that you already have running. Don't make that mistake. But anyway, with that said, I'll wrap it up with that. If you have any questions, leave me a comment below. I get back to every single person who leaves me a question or a comment on this channel, usually within 24 hours time. If you haven't subscribed to this channel already, you darn well should, as the information on this channel, I promise you, is better information you're going to find about making money with ads online for your business than any other information you can find online. And it is because my full-time job is just figuring out what ad strategies work at our advertising firm. And I have dozens of ad accounts I have to do that on, and constantly am testing every which way to run ads and everything that comes out. What I find works as well as what doesn't work, I share with you for free on this channel. That doesn't sound like a lot until you understand most other people that have information online about running ads don't actually run ads. They're giving you second, third, fourth-hand information. Therefore, the information is basically bullshit and you can't rely on it, and it's not useful really in the grand scheme of things at all. So if you are going to subscribe to something and you are serious about making money with ads, you want to subscribe to this channel at the very least, and you should subscribe now. That said, also, you can find my blog on my site at guaranteedppc.com/blog, where I have specific strategies that I use and show examples of using those strategies to make money, how much they make, how to replicate these strategies for yourself, how to bolt them on to your current strategies that you have now to start making more money with your ads. With screenshots, with the step-by-step instructions, the whole shebang to be able to replicate these strategies for yourself is there. If you like the channel, I promise you're going to like the blog as well. You should check that out as well. Beyond that, if you're looking for somebody to do all the heavy lifting for you, to run these ads, run these landing pages, everything I talked about on this channel and more, this is exactly what we do for clients at our advertising agency at Guaranteed PPC. And the kicker is, we do not charge you any fees unless we can increase the profitability of your ads up front a certain minimum amount. So there's like a trial period where we'll say, you're going to get 30% more profitability of your ads up front. If we don't do that for you in a maximum time period, there is no fee. That increase should offset the cost of the fee that we charge to begin with. So they're really just paying ourselves out of what we're doing for you up front. The catch is we can't just work with anybody, and we got to know we can get great results with your stuff to agree to take you on as a client. But if you want to see if we can work together, reach out to me at my firm at guaranteedppc.com. I'd be happy to discuss it with you and give you a free assessment either way. As a side, if you're looking to get results, you don't want an ad agency working with you, you like managing your own ads, similar to what we do as our primary bread and butter, which is just we execute on things for clients. If we've worked in your niche market before, you can use the exact winning ads, landing pages, campaign templates, all of it that work for your niche market already, and then just simply copy and paste whatever we've had to get success in your market into your own ad account and get the same results we're getting with none of the work and none of the time and money that we spent to figure out what actually gets those results in your market. And we've worked in over 100 niche markets in the last 10 years running this firm. So the chances are high we've already got the winning ads for your market, and you're not going to get it figured out for cheaper than what we sell the templates for. So at the very least, you should reach out to us and see if we've worked in your market, what the templates are that we have and what results we've got. So you can consider just buying the templates from us outright, of which we've got people that buy these templates to start whole other businesses. because they're so good. If we spent millions of dollars in ad spend to figure out what ads work in a certain market, you can take that, run it, and sell leads in a market, which we've had several people do, or get into selling products. If you want to turnkey e-commerce business, sell a product that we already know sells well in country A and sell it in country B, of which you can easily source from China, and we have people do that as well. So it's like having a business basically on training wheels. If you're interested in any of those other opportunities, you can also reach out to me at guaranteedppc.com. But with that said, I'll wrap everything up with that. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.